What's up? Welcome back to Talking Nutrition. We're 26 episodes in and I still don't know how to begin these things.
I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you. Every single time when we see the countdown, I'm like, what should I say? But here we are. We'll get there. It's definitely a difference compared to episode 1. So, hey, we're good.
Yeah.
Today we are here to talk about ultra-processed foods versus unprocessed or minimally processed or whole foods. Scary topic, right? There's a lot of a lot of stuff on ultra processed foods these days, which I kind of hate. I don't like that word. Like, it just, we don't have to like make things sound bad, you know.
That's what we do in society, though.
Yeah, it's true. It's easier to market, you know.
100%. Yeah.
It's easier to scare you with something that's going to kill you, right? Seed oils.
Right.
Like highly inflammatory foods, you know?
Fiber. Terrible for you.
Fiber is bullshit. I can't set...
I know.
I'm glad we have Lane Norton because he makes it a point of like calling people out, but
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I've been very good at consuming social media less these days for that reason. And you know what? I feel way better.
Yeah, I bet.
Anywho, so there's a lot of fear mongering around processed foods. I'll give you the good news already. You can still eat some of it. Should your whole diet consist of processed foods? Maybe not, but we'll get into that. First, Kristine, any updates from your end?
So I still don't have like a name for it, so I'm calling it a 30-minute full body. It's kind of a lot. But I released that. And it's doing good. People are loving it. So it's 30 minutes. It's full body, and it's strength /hypertrophy. I have a hard time saying that word, hypertrophy. Yeah, hypertrophy based, and it's 3 days a week. So I made it for those who are like short on time, or those who just like shorter training sessions and not training every single day, right? That's where I'm at right now. I had people ask me to create this. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to create it. So yeah, we'll leave the link to that in the description notes. It's fun. It's one of the girls that's in it right now. She described it as challenging, but not overwhelming. So I thought that was a really good description.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm. It's a good dose.
Yeah, it is a good dose. Like same kind of thing. Is like, it sounds less, exciting maybe than every single day. But you can get a whole lot out of 3 really good workouts.
Yeah, it's the effort you put in.
Yeah. So guys, check it out. Highly recommend doing so. Cool. Want to jump in?
Yeah. So
talk about processed foods.
Yeah, we'll talk about like what are processed foods. So processed foods are basically just foods, whether it's a whole source, like say something like meat, or something that's like less nutrient dense, like chips. Like the food is being altered in some way. So processed foods, they get a bad rep, but they can still be a nutrient dense food, right? Which I think a lot of people don't think about often. And there's just like, it's easy for foods to get the good and bad rep, essentially, right? So our minds, I think, automatically go to processed or ultra processed is bad, and then whole sources of food is good. But it's kind of like the processed foods that are like nutrient dense, they're not bad, right? They're not bad. And processed foods on their own are not technically bad either. I mean, there's context. There has to be context around this, right? when we talk about like whole and minimally processed foods, those tend to come with like more fiber, water, micronutrients, like vitamins and minerals. They're more filling, right? So they help to keep us full. Highly processed foods. So when we're talking like chips, candy, ice cream, what else? You guys know what I mean. Those foods are quite literally like made to make us overeat on them because they're hyper palatable. So they have like sugar, salt, well, I guess it depends. It can be like sugar, salt, fat, carb, and they're just really freaking good. Taste very, very good, right? So they're easier for us to overconsume, usually higher in calories and then less filling. So that's another reason why they become, easier to overconsume.
Yeah, you said it. Like companies literally have whole teams for this to make something as palatable as possible.
Yeah.
Like people get paid to make you eat more of that product, basically,
Yeah, it's money in their
pocket.
And
they're really good at it. Yeah, they're really good at it. So, things like, also even like things like McDonald's and stuff, that's what they do.
Right.
But when was the last time you ate one food? My diet is one food.
That would suck.
Probably the contest. That would suck, yeah. So that's the thing. Can we say that one food is good or bad? Well, no, because we have no idea what everything else looks like.
Right.
So that being said, like, do ultra processed foods make you gain weight? Because that's what you hear, right? It's the carbs, it's the sugar. Fat makes you fat. Good question. So I'm taking this from a blog that I also will link in the show notes, which, now that I think of it, next week, now the blog should be good. I've been trying to switch everything over and it's been a mess on my website, but by the time this episode launches, it'll be fine. So a 2022, so that's very recent, review that was published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found a positive relationship between ultra-processed food consumption and obesity. So we do know that there's a relationship there. However, the study found that people gain weight, but also ate more calories on that ultra-processed diet compared to the more unprocessed diet, right? So they suggested that the reason people ate more calories on the ultra-processed diet was because of the higher sugar intake, lower intake of protein and fiber, those filling foods. So is it because of the actual food, or are we looking at the fact that you're eating more calories? And obviously, as we know, that's the reason for weight gain. That's kind of like the study I want to start with in the blog, and then we're going to follow up with 2 other studies. And it'll all start to make sense. We're going to link it back after this. But first up, so can you eat a flexible diet, Kristine, including processed foods, and still lose weight?
Yes. I've seen it
cool. Next.
over and over and over and over and over and over. And I've taken this approach since I started my business, and it has been successful in every way, shape, or form. You can absolutely lose weight while including processed foods, because as long as you're controlling calories and protein, calories are king in terms of that. Protein, you can lose weight. So a really good example of this, I know we've talked about this before, is Jordan's diet. So I always bring it back. I use this example a lot with my clients. Like, do I want my clients going out and eating McDonald's every single day? No, but this is the point. There's a point being made here. I forget how long it was. I think it was a month, maybe more than that. He put himself in a calorie deficit, but he ate a Big Mac every single day. By the end, he did not feel good eating a Big Mac every day, but he lost weight. he lost weight. So when it comes to fat loss, you absolutely can include processed foods. A 2021 study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition compared a flexible versus rigid diet. People were put on a 20% calorie deficit with a protein intake of 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. The flexible group was told, and if needed, taught how to track their macros and keep their calories and protein in check. There were no rules around food groups. Carb/fat ratio was open for preference or food choices. The rigid group got a minimally processed meal plan with the same deficit, so they're eating the same amount, and protein amounts. Their plan was set up by a registered dietitian. After 10 weeks, there was no significant difference between the two groups. They lost about the same amount of body weight, body fat, and both groups maintained their lean mass as well. This tells us that when calories and protein are controlled, neither a rigid or flexible diet seems to be more or less effective for fat loss than the other. However, that's when calories and protein are in check, right? So with this, my head, like personally, and like what I've seen in practice is the rigid dieting. Although this study says, they got the same, the outcome was the same. In the rigid dieting, you are way more likely to end up binging, falling off track because of that deprivation, right? And so still, regardless of what this study says, I would 100% rather people take a more flexible approach, because it's just going to be easier and way less stressful.
Yeah. Because what's going to fit into someone's life better?
Right.
A flexible approach or a strict meal plan? They both work. We know that a meal plan works.
Right.
But sticking to that, that's the tricky part. Because then you have the weekends and Christmas and all those kind of things,
Yeah.
Which is exactly, go ahead.
And that's ultimately, when you're on like a rigid program, like we've talked about this before, like a meal plan, how are you learning to navigate Christmas and New Year's, like that 2 weeks? You don't have those tools. So it's really tough to do. Yeah. And we want that long-term success, right? And so
you want to be able to eventually be able to, do that on your own.
Right.
Because once again, it works with the plan, 100%. Makes it very easy to follow. But then life happens, you don't know how to follow it, So much rather have you put in a little bit more work on your end. And I know like this is exactly why Kristine and I are both really big on tracking macros. Is it for everyone? No, it's not. Do we sometimes go with other approaches for some people? Sure. But we are still going to try at least to have someone work on tracking macros, because here's the thing. When you are really good at tracking macros, you learn from that stuff, and you are open to learn from that and change something, you will then become better at doing without tracking. And that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that we can lose weight with a flexible diet and be totally fine, as long as you control calories and protein. Next up, so ultra-processed diets. Sorry, I should phrase this differently. So, do ultra-processed diets cause excess calorie intake and weight gain? Let's actually recap. So, we know that there's a relation between ultra-processed diets and obesity, right? We talked about that. On the more processed diets, people tend to eat more calories. We know that because typically these diets are higher in sugar, so they're more calorie dense, right? you're eating less fiber, you're eating less protein. So you're getting a lot of energy, but you're not feeling that full, right? And we talked about those palatable foods. Now, we also know that when calories and protein in check, there actually doesn't seem to be a difference between a rigid, minimally processed diet and a flexible diet, including some processed foods, basically. But what happens if you do not track? Like, what happens if you do not necessarily stick to your calories and protein, right? So now we're actually going to connect the dots. So there was a 2019 study where they had two groups of people living at a facility for a month. So they were fed everything they ate. One group, they were put on an ultra processed food diet, and the other all minimally processed foods. And then halfway, they had a transition period, and then they switched. So they were both put on the two different diets, which is really cool. They want to really see the difference between who would, I'm going too fast here. They want to see the difference between the groups, and if that would really be because of the foods being minimally processed or ultra processed. And that's why they put both groups on those different diets, but also accounted for calories, macros, micronutrients, fiber, all that good stuff. It's the same. That probably took a lot of work as well to actually dial that in, Okay, subjects were then fed their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the initial meal was matched. So let's say like you have your 500 calorie breakfast or lunch, whatever. Everyone got that same amount, basically. But they were then told to eat as much or as little as they wanted to. And then at the facility, they could also get snacks throughout the day and drinks as well. So guess what? The outcome, the processed food group gained weight. The unprocessed food group lost weight. And there was no difference in hunger, which sounds kind of weird, right? But the processed group ended up eating about 500 more calories from carbs and fats compared to the minimally processed food group. So even though they were fed the initial kind of like same meals, because of the actual foods they were eating, they ended up eating more. So once again, it comes down to those calories being higher. So to kind of recap, like, can we include that stuff? Yeah, sure. But we do need to make sure that you can stick to something. Stick to your either maintenance calories or your calorie deficit, or even surplus, I would say, because you also don't want to go too fast there.
Right.
So once again, I think it's totally fine to have this stuff. It's not that when you eat processed food, you're going to gain a bunch of body fat all of a sudden,
Right.
Will you make it more difficult? Yeah.
It's making it more like, so if it comes down to like, are they dominating the diet? Mm-hmm. Right. And if they're dominating the diet, it's the lack of fiber, the lack of micronutrients, all of that, which is, or the lack of those, making those things easier to overconsume because they're A, they taste really good, and B, they're not filling. Right. So you have, say, for example, a donut that's 300 calories. Okay. And then you have a chicken breast that's 300 calories. Like, which one's going to leave you full? Which one are you more likely to eat more of? Probably the donut. Right. But still, at the end of the day, from like a psychological standpoint, it is not recommended to try and be so rigid and so perfect and like remove all these processed foods, because then what happens when these processed foods are plopped in front of you? Like, it's going to be so hard to not overindulge on them, because you've just restricted yourself so much from it. And I work on this with clients all the time. Yeah. And I had a client check in with me today, and she's just come so far. Like one of these people who feared food at the beginning and then would overindulge, if she did have it and that same type of thing, right? And she checked in today, and I want to read it because this is like where I wish everyone in the world could get to. So if everyone in the world could get here, we would have a lot less problems. So she checked in and she said, I had a moment over the holiday where I was eating some cookies and there was one left. Old me would have had just eaten the glass cookie that I couldn't be tempted to. Sorry, old me would have just eaten the last cookie so that I couldn't be tempted to eat it later. Me now looked at that cookie, knew I was quite content with the cookies I had just eaten, and would really be excited about that cookie later, and went about my day. Then the next day, when I really wanted that cookie, I went back and I ate it and I enjoyed every bit of it. Right? So that's a very, very good relationship with food. Knowing that you can have it, but you're content. You don't necessarily need it, right? You can say no. Knowing that tomorrow, if you want that cookie, you can have it, right? And her whole, all the rest of her diet, she's getting in the nutrient dense food. She's getting in her protein. She's getting in her vegetables and fruits and her micronutrients, all of that. So it's just, I wish everyone could get to that point. Flexible dieting. I think too, like flexible dieting, people think, you can kind of just like eat all of these processed foods or whatever. But flexible dieting also means like instead of just eating chicken, you can have like a steak, right? I think people forget about that or don't think about it that way. But to me, like a good, healthy, balanced diet is one where the priority is the protein, is the micronutrients, fruits and vegetables, whole sources of food, while simultaneously incorporating these ultra processed foods that you enjoy.
Yeah. It's not even about like being perfect. It's like learning how to include that stuff and being cool with it,
Right.
And just being like, okay, cool. Like you either feel great and sometimes, hey, you eat something, you're like, maybe it wasn't worth it, but then you still learn from it.
Right.
But wouldn't it just be great to just have the cookie and the donut and the burger and get on with your day?
Right. Like she's in a much better place being able to have the cookies and say no, and then be able to have that cookie tomorrow if she wants, versus eating a ton of it because she feels like she can't have it the next day. Now you're like 2,000 calories over what you wanted to eat, and you don't feel good physically or mentally. So would you rather dose it small doses like here and there, or have that stress of trying to be so rigid and then end up, going overboard? I mean, and it takes time, honestly. It really does for people to get to that place and like overcoming that fear. Like I will dose these fun foods throughout the week, with people and check in, see how they're feeling mentally. And like sometimes it takes just getting uncomfortable. People have such a big fear of these foods sometimes. It can go either way, right? But when people have a huge fear of these foods, it does take getting uncomfortable with incorporating them sometimes. And then eventually they're realizing like, there's nothing bad coming out of this, it's only improving the relationship with food. So it can take a long time, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does take time. And it does take a little bit of work. And I feel like that stuff is almost a reason for people not to get on, sign on with coaching or something. Because they think, because a lot of programs kind of are like that, where it's like, okay, you need to follow this, that's what you're supposed to do. Good luck. Now it's up to you. And if you don't follow it, you fucked up. Like, no. Like, we need to actually work together. The macros and all that good stuff, like, sure, that's what we do as well. But when we get that check-in and when we find out that you have a struggle, or usually we kind of know this already from phone calls and, in the onboarding process, but like when we get into a conversation and we get to talk about this stuff and the emotional eating and the weekends and the struggles, like that's where, like, that's the magic of coaching. Like, that's where we can figure shit out.
Yeah.
And the last couple of weeks, or the last few weeks, like after Christmas, with the check-ins and stuff, like, don't think we're like looking at, hey, did you get your protein? Did you get your calories in? We're looking for the lessons learned here. And guess what? Like, we both prepared our clients for Christmas. We had a week-to-week plan, basically. We got into that if-then planning. Guess what? People had a great time. Was it perfect? No. But they got to be flexible. They got to be
even say if someone did say overindulge, but they don't feel guilty about it anymore. To me, that's huge.
Huge, yeah. And that's
if they've had like a poor relationship with food before, like beat themselves up and all of that, and they come back to me and they're like, well, yeah, I definitely, they say overindulged. I mean, that definition can be different, based on the person. But if they say, yeah, I enjoy this, I enjoy that, and there's no guilty feelings surrounding it and they're not beating themselves up, huge win for me.
Yeah, that's the cool stuff. That's the thing that actually matters.
Yeah.
And that's flexible dieting.
It goes the other way too, right? Like if someone is used to like overeating and it's something they're trying to work on, and they practice self-control. Like I did have a client this year, just practice way more self-control and like didn't overindulge. And that's a huge one for him, right? Like it goes both ways. But like that client that didn't overindulge, we've been working on his relationship with food. And it again, like getting out of this good and bad food mindset. And he's incorporated more variety into his nutrition. He's incorporating more stuff, and which he didn't before. It was more like this rigid stuff. So that helped him not overindulge by actually creating more variety in his day-to-day. So yeah, different people, different scenarios, but at the end of the day, too rigid is not good. Going too far either way, in my opinion, is not the answer. I think there's not necessarily a balance, because we do want priority to be the nutrient dense foods always. But I mean, I've talked, and you talk about this too, like the 80-20% rule. Like that's a good area to be in.
Yeah. I like 80-20. I will say during a cut, I'm a fan of 85, like 90, like,
you got to really
clean, whatever you want to call it. But simply because it is going to keep you a little bit more full. Yes. But that still means that 10%, and by the way, it doesn't have to be 10% every single day. It could be a moment in your week, where you have a little bit. But like, that means that even in the cut, you could do that stuff. Like you could have some processed foods and be totally fine. And the Jordan side example you gave, like he had McDonald's every single day. Like he ate a Big Mac every single day, lost a bunch of weight. Yeah. So it is possible. We just don't want to have a whole like diet composed of donuts and cookies and sugar and all this good stuff. Like we can have some of it, but it's the context. Like I said at the beginning, when was the last time you ate one food? Like that's your diet. Like no one does that.
No. I think we're good, huh?
Yeah, I think so. So guys, know that you can eat that stuff. And also know that you are still in control of what you eat and how much, etc. And that even if you do struggle with that stuff, you can still overcome that. But like be open to getting a little uncomfortable and diving deeper, like try to figure out what the root cause might be. Because we also have to be honest with ourselves and say, hey, okay, now we got to do something here. Whether we're going to do that on our own, we're going to get help. But what I want you to do this year, like this stuff, like don't let it win, if you know what I mean. Like if you're struggling with something, like try to figure that shit out. Because that's literally the only way you're going to overcome that, you know? And it's not the food that makes the decisions, you know? You're in charge. And that can mean fucking up a few times, but like you can still figure that out.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to add, Kristine?
I think that's it.
All good? All right. Mm-hmm. Thank you for listening. As always, feel free to drop us a review or a rating, and we will be back next week. Talk to you soon.